Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Greenfield Village Railway. For the safety of our younger riders, we ask that the adults with them place themselves on the outside of the road. If it's not practical, just make sure that they are held or easily within your reach. Also, we ask that you do not stand up and move around while the train is in motion, keeping your head, hands, and feet inside the cars at all times. Eating and drinking is not permitted, but water and enclosed water bottles just fine, and we want you to stay hydrated. So sit back, enjoy your train ride. We're heading over to the Firestone Station or the entrance to the Greenfield Village. Thank you. We're going to say goodbye to Bill, our station master, and to Mike, our conductor, as we pull away. We are now in Railroad Junction District, and in front of us is the Smith Creek Station Depot that was built in 1835 by the Grand Trunk Railway. Smith Creek was located about 10 miles west of Port Huron, Michigan. Henry Ford brought this particular depot here because it had a young Thomas Edison connection. We have a presenter in the building who will tell you more about that story, and also about the life of a station master. He worked 24/7, so he had a home attached to his place of work. Does that bring back memories for some people? There's Mary Ann, our presenter, over at Smith Creek. Do stop in and talk. Behind there is the Edison Illuminating Power Plant, where young Henry Ford had one of his first professional jobs as a steam engineer. And next to that is our new vegetable building, the Detroit Central Marketplace that was built in 1860. We have a presenter there that will tell you about the past of that building and how we are going to use it in the future. Next to us is the Detroit Toledo Milwaukee Roundhouse that was built in the year 2000. It was made to look like one from Marshall, Michigan in 1884. There are fewer than 10 roundhouses left in the country. That's because with the advent of the diesel electric, the steam locomotives became obsolete. We have 3 steam locomotives we use at the village, so we need a roundhouse. And our next district is Liberty Craftworks, where we have glass blowing, pottery making, weaving, and a printing shop. Our artisans are working as they did back in the 1880s, using similar tools and skills that were used back then. We also have the Davidson Gerson Gallery of Glass here, So you can see glass pieces from the 1700s to modern day. And we can't forget the Armington and Sims machine shop that was built in 1929. You go over there, visit, and watch a brass candlestick being made using a lathe. We are now coming into our seventh and final district. That is the Working Farms District. We have staff dressed in period clothing carrying out the chores like they would have on a farm in 1885. The tools that they're using and other implements that they use on a farm are true to that time period. The home that you see on your right is the home of Harvey Firestone. He was born in 1828 in Columbiana, Ohio. And he was the person who supplied Henry Ford with tires for the Model T cars. Over at our barn, we have live animals. We have cows, chickens, we have sheep, and horses. A great place to have the children visit especially. And there you see some sheep. Those are the merino sheep. They have more wool because they have wrinkly skin. Maybe you have something that was made of merino wool. You have these sheep to thank for that. We are now coming into the Firestone Station. Please remain seated. The engineer is going to set a brake, giving us the sound of a single whistle that lets us know it's safe to come off the train. You'll exit to your right side at this station, and we're here for about 8 minutes before we move out to Susquehanna Station. We're going to say hello to Faith, our station master, as we pull in. Wait for the whistle before you stand. Over to your left is the Susquehanna Plantation that was built in 1835 from St. Mary's County, Maryland. The Carroll family owned the 700-acre big plantation. They also owned 65 African Americans that they enslaved to do all the work on the plantation. Go inside and listen to the hardships that those workers endured for the Carroll family. Next we have the Plimpton family home. It happens to be the oldest American home we have here, built in the late 1600s from Susquehanna, Massachusetts. Mr. and Mrs. Plimpton raised 7 children in that one-room house. And then we have the Ferris windmill, built in 1650 from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. It's the oldest standing windmill in the United States. It was a gift to Henry Ford by his auto workers. Next we have the Nagging family farmhouse, built in 1754 from Andover, Connecticut. Go inside and learn what life was like before the American Revolutionary War. And next to us we have the pasture for our draft perch run and Morgan horses. This is a little rest and relaxation that they get after pulling wagons around the farms and the streets of Greenfield Village. There's some welcoming turkeys over there in the field too. Do you see them? They're wild turkeys. Don't get any ideas right now. We still have months ahead of us. The locomotive that's pulling our train today is called the Torch Link. It was built in 1873 by the Mason Machine Works Company. It happens to be the oldest running steam locomotive on a regular schedule in the country. It's also a tank engine. That means that the coal and the water are stored right on the locomotive. There is no tender car for it. Steam locomotives work primarily on coal and water. Coal is fed into a firebox where the temperatures get extremely hot enough to cause the water in the boiler to boil and then convert to steam. It's the steam then that moves into the pipes, that move into the pistons, that move the wheels. Essentially, that's how a steam locomotive works. We have have two other steam locomotives here at Greenfield Village. We have the Edison that was built in 1932, and we have the Baldwin number 7, built in 1897. You can view both of those locomotives as you pass through the big doors of the Roundhouse. Sit back and enjoy some of the sounds that a steam locomotive makes as we move through our wildlife preserve. Maybe we'll see glimpses of some more wild turkeys. What you just saw is called a blowdown. The engineer is just releasing some steam that accumulates in the boiler, and it's a way to get rid of some calcium and other deposits that collect in the boiler. No plants or animals are harmed by that steam release. Ford Museum of American Innovation is a non-profit educational organization. It does not get any funding from the Ford Motor Company. But it relies on people like you that come to visit the museum and the village, buying tickets to come to our park. We thank you for your support, and we truly hope that you are having a great time here at Greenfield Village today. Let's give it up if you're having a fun time. Thank you very much, and we want you to have the best day ever. Thank you. We are now coming into the Walnut Grove area. We have historic baseball being played here according to the rule book of 1867. These are the final games of the day. They will be playing the championship games beginning at 2:30. The last two teams that are out in front. There are two different games being played on the ball field right now. These men are wearing historic uniforms like they did back in 1867. Let's all wait for them and let them know that we show our support for them. The rules are simple. There's no bunching, no sliding, no cursing, no spitting, and they don't wear any gloves. Notice not one player has a glove on. That's because they weren't invented yet, and they catch those high balls with their bare hands. Oh! And here's the second game that's being played. And then it'll be down to the final two teams. There's plenty of lawn space here for everybody to come and view the game. The spectators are out there, and hope you will be one of them as well. Next to us is the Henry Ford Academy High School that was built in 1997. A charter school. We had over 500 students attend this past school year. The 9th graders had classes at the museum, and 10th to 12th graders right here. In these vintage Pullman cars, they were converted into classrooms for the perfect senior class. To be a student here, one must live in Wayne County, Michigan. After submitting an application, it's the luck of the draw that your application gets pulled so you can attend high school here 4 years, and it's all tuition free. Look over to your left, you're going to see the Swine Lagoon. It helps to mitigate any flooding that we might get from heavy rains here at Greenfield Village. Mother Mary Ford. Next to that is the one-room schoolhouse from Dearborn Township, built in 1861, where young Henry Ford attended. And then we have the Logan County Courthouse, built in 1840 from Postville, Illinois, where young Abraham Lincoln practiced law and was very good boards. Go inside. We have presenters in each one of those buildings to tell you more stories. Next to us is the Taste of History restaurant. If you're looking for a place to dine, stop over here. The food is locally sourced, brought in fresh daily, reasonably priced. The menu selections come from our historic farmhouses here at Greenfield Village. You will not be disappointed. We are now pulling into the Smiths Creek Station. Please remain seated. The engineer will set a brake and give us the sound of a single whistle, letting us know it's safe to come off the train. If you are getting off at this stop, I highly recommend a short walk over to the Herschel Stillman Carousel. Take a ride, and when you're done, walk over to the frozen custard stand and treat yourself to a frosty treat. Oh, there's our Amtrak train. Passengers on that train are waving hello. And here we come into the station, and we're met by Bill, our station master. He'll greet you as you come off the train. We're here for only 4 minutes before we move out, back to Firestone Station. Once again, wait till you hear that whistle before you stand. It's all about safety.